Hi, thanks for being here this morning. A couple of big stories here in the state of Arizona. One very local, obviously, here in the Valley with the FAA regulation or the flight path changes that have happened at Sky Harbor. But the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals case is something in the western United States. Now, we had talked previously, we know that Governor Ducey was working with members of Congress on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals case. Joining us on a newsmaker line is Arizona Senator Jeff Flake. Senator Flake, welcome back to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
Which of these two would you like to discuss first? Because I think both of them are big stories. I have friends that live in the flight path, and they just asked me about this the other day. So I don't know if that's where you want to start, or would you rather start with the Ninth Circuit?
Let's start there.
Okay.
And the background to that, as you know, the FAA just came in without really consulting anybody locally and changed the flight paths in a way that really negatively impacted some of the local communities, serious changes. And so for the past year, we've been pushing the FAA to consult with local officials, and they've been resistant to that. So we've used just about every vehicle we could find, Senator McCain and myself, to force the EPA to sit down. And so we passed something on the THUD, the transportation bill, and then on the omnibus we included language, but nothing ended up being signed into law. But now we've managed to put the language into the FAA authorization bill that will be voted on soon in the House. That's a bill that has to pass by the end of March because the authorization runs out. So we think we've finally found the vehicle to force them to talk.
So what, we had talked to people in the FAA were saying that they had talked with people in the city of Phoenix, and nobody seemed to bring up any kind of an issue about this until after it was done. Is there any truth to that?
The city of Phoenix will dispute that, and certainly if the city of Phoenix found out anything, they didn't pass it on to any of the local communities. So the local communities that were impacted certainly didn't know about it. So this is something that that needs to be fixed, and it looks like, and the good thing is about the legislation, the language that was passed, it has two components, a look back, so they'll have to go in and discuss previous decisions made by the EPA, like the one we're talking about, and then going forward, they won't be able to make any changes unless they consult local officials.
Is it possible where, with the location of Sky Harbor Airport and how busy Phoenix has gotten as we sprawl kind of west and east, is it possible to keep people happy and not do, the air noise bother people because of where the proximity where the airport is?
You're never going to have everybody happy, but there are ways to mitigate some of the effects. And this way, the city of Phoenix and others have put forth other ideas that would work better. So you're right. There's simply no way you can satisfy everyone. But it seems that they didn't take much into account at all.
Yeah.
So that's what we're trying to do here.
And the idea, for the people that don't know about the changes, it was a way to get more flights in and out of Sky Harbor in a day because of the changes they made to the flight paths. But what it's doing now is taking these flights lower and over more neighborhoods at lower levels where it's causing a lot of noise for some people where the flight paths weren't in that way before. So it's a big change for people in these neighborhoods, right?
It is. Yeah, that's correct. And boy, they send footage of some of the planes going overhead, and it's quite a change.
So then the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals. Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, the most overwhelmed appeals court in the country by a huge margin. They're the most overturned court in the entire country by a huge margin. That being said now, how are we on creating the 12th Circuit Court of Appeals and kind of easing that pressure on the Ninth and getting Arizona out of that jurisdiction?
Well, this is something that a lot of people have been working for a long time on. Senator Kyle really worked to get this done. The biggest problem is that it's simply overworked and overburdened. This is a huge circuit court. It's bigger than any of the others, and it's bigger than a few of the others combined. So the workload is such that the principle of swift access to justice that we have in this country simply isn't being followed. And that's the biggest reason for the change.
Is it going to be changed, and if so, how quickly?
Well, this is always tough politically because no judge wants to give up any jurisdiction. And that's the bottom line. It's going to be tough to do, but if it does work, I think it'll be not in the coming months, but we've filed legislation to get it done. And the longer we go, the more important it is, and the more people see that we simply have to have swift access to justice that we don't have now.
Does Congress have it? And I am ignorant on the answer to this question, but does Congress have the purview, correct, where you can create this yourselves, and if it goes across the president's desk, this will be created, or is there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Congress does have the authority. It certainly would help if we had the court's help.
Right.
But we're unlikely to get most of the judges on the Ninth Circuit to agree with us here.
Now, there's no way I can let you out, Senator, without at least getting your comment, without being specific, because I'll let you decide how much specifically you want to say. Talk to us about what you're seeing in the primary for president on both sides of the aisle, but the Republicans especially. What are you seeing, and what do you think so far of the field?
Well, let me just say, on the Democratic side, it sure is fun to watch. Finally, there seems to be a real race on that side, and it's nice to see. It's nice to see a little consternation among the voters, just for fun, and probably won't last for long. I think Hillary Clinton will be the nominee. But on our side, on the Republican side, I never thought that Donald Trump would be our nominee, and I think that became quite apparent after Iowa. I just think if you're a serious candidate, you have to have serious proposals, and he never did. And so I'm glad to see that as well. So my guess is it's likely to be down between Rubio or Kasich or others as we get down to it.
Will you give an endorsement, or do you just stay out of that and just let it play out on its own?
I may here in the coming weeks, or I may decide to hold it out.
Okay.
But, I will likely endorse.
Okay, well, you can go ahead and do it. Tell us now. I mean,
if I do, I'll call right in.
All right.